Hey folks, welcome to Andromeda 6. This is supposed to be some kind of sci-fi, visual novel, romance type of thing. Just wanted to give it a try. It looked really interesting. I think they said total, I think there's like 10 chapters or episodes that they're going to do. I think 7 are released right now. But yeah, we'll see about that. I might divide each episode into its own video depending on how long they are, but hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get straight into it. My name is gonna be Des, as always. Choose your pronouns. Do she, her. Oh. Human. A gentle and intelligent alien race dedicated to their medical studies and nurturing way of life. I can be a human, the most populous of all species, renowned for their scientific advances in engineering. A humanoid race gifted with the ability to live both on land or water. This unique species easily adapts to their chosen habitat. Ooh, these all sound fun. Medical studies. I think I'm gonna go the boring route on this one. I like the scientific advances in engineering. It's between these two because I like the idea of land and water. That's pretty cool. You know what? I want to do this one. Episode 1, Error 404. It's never good, right? My eyes crack open slowly. One and then the other. In an instant, I'm blinded by fluorescent lights that make my head pound, and at once, I regret the action. From the heaviness that settled in my bones, I feel as though I've been asleep for a century, and with a low groan, I manage to push myself up on my elbows and clumsily survey my surroundings. Where the hell am I? I find myself in a small room, metal walls, a desk and some shelves, 2 closed doors. Overall, the place looks quite bare, and not at all familiar. I press a hand on my head in an attempt to stifle the pain, and a streak of panic tears through me. My heart begins to race, my mind attempting to sift through all the possible reasons I could be here in this foreign place, with no memory of how I got here. And the more I think, the more my brain thumps painfully against my skull. Why can't I remember anything? It takes some effort to push myself into a sitting position, my muscles protesting each small movement. I feel as though an entire building has fallen on me. I attempt to stand, but something makes me pause, a kind of roaring that emanates through the room, and then a sudden lurch of movement that has my legs buckling beneath me, sending me tumbling back into the bed with a crash. Ooh, bright lights. My breath sticks in my throat, panic and confusion rising in me like a wave. What the hell is going on? The door opposite the bed hisses and shifts, sliding back into the wall as it opens, and my fight-or-flight reflexes take hold of me. Shuffle back into the corner. Let's stand to meet. I push myself to my feet, but my legs are so unsteady that almost at once my ass is crashing back down to the mattress. Let me get my mouse out of here. I settle instead for glaring towards the door darkly. Perhaps if I make myself seem menacing, I can gain the upper hand and fight my way out of here. Are you okay? You should be careful, you might hurt yourself. I glare at the man who enters the room, assessing him thoroughly. He's so tall that his head almost touches the top of the door frame. He gives me a small smile, an awkward smile, though it doesn't do much to calm me. Apologies. I should have knocked. You really should have. I track him as he moves across the room, and the metal chain beneath the desk scrapes across the floor as he sets it closer to the bed. Chair. Why'd I say chain? He sits and faces me, leaning forward with his arms rested on his knees, and that tight smile still plastered on his face. How are you feeling? I'm fine, I'm in pain, I'm scared. I'm in pain. I look the man over, from his gentle half-smile to his casual posture. My gaze falls nervously upon the pistol strapped to his body, but there's nothing in his demeanor that suggests he intends to use them. My head is pounding like crazy, but apart from that, I think I'm okay. Oh, here, I have something that can help with that. He stands and heads over to the desk, where I notice a pitcher of water and a glass. After pouring some water, he pulls out a small packet from one of his pockets, handing both over to me. Take 2 of these. They're simple painkillers, but they should help. For a moment I hesitate, thinking it's probably not the best idea in the world to take pills from a stranger. But in the end, the pain in my head wins out. I take the pills, feeling the relief of them almost immediately as I set the glass aside. Thanks. They seem to be working. Good. You know, I was worried about you after... He cuts himself off abruptly, his eyes flickering as though he's not sure he should have said that at all. After what? The silence that hangs between us feels decidedly awkward, his hesitation obvious by the way he fidgets with the bracelets around his wrist. Something happened. Something big. I can tell that much. But somehow, I can't remember what. I know that I can, double-click the spacebar, but I'm so terrified I'm gonna miss dialogue if I do it too fast. Deciding that I need some answers, I take the questioning into my own hands. Who are you? Where am I? Am I a prisoner? I want to know, who are you? Okay, I think it's about time you tell me who you are. You can do that much, can't you? He hesitates a moment before his demeanor seems to shift. Yes, of course I can. I'm Juniper Nix, but you can call me June, and the ship we're on is the Andromeda 6. It's the finest cruiser around, and it just so happens to be my home. Oh. Well, that explains the movement I felt earlier. We're on a ship. Sorry. Am I a prisoner here? What? No, of course you're not. You were injured when we found you. I wonder why his name went back to being a question mark, because he just told us his name. You were injured when we found you. We brought you on the ship to patch you up. Injured? How? Hey, what's your name? I open my mouth to tell him my name, but I come up short. What is my name? I have a name. I can feel that they're on the tip of my tongue, but every time I reach out for it, it escapes me. I'm not sure. I mean, I have a name, I just can't remember it, for some reason. June frowns, and the familiar feeling of panic begins to bubble up inside me. I should be able to remember something as simple as my own name. Closing my eyes, I try to coax the knowledge from my memories. I can feel it lingering on the edge of my thoughts, and I know it's close, hidden behind the mist of my mind. Nothing. Why can't I remember? My throat tightens at the realization. Not remembering how I got here is one thing, but not knowing my own name? All the names that cross my mind feel foreign, not one of them standing out as mine. Panic begins to sear my lungs. Excuse me. Constricting my throat, leaving me gasping for breath. Hey, don't panic. Look at me. June shuffles his chair closer to the bed, his eyes locked on mine. He takes a deep breath in through his nose, releasing it slowly through his mouth. With a hand, he gestures for me to do the same. After a few breaths, in and out, the tightness in my chest begins to ease and cool air floods my lungs. That's it. Good job. Now close your eyes and relax. Just keep breathing through it. I hesitate, but I follow his instructions. Closing my eyes, I roll my shoulders and let out a deep, shuddering breath. I know my name. It's here, somewhere. Don't try to force it. Focus on clearing your mind. Let it come to you. His voice washes over me like a balm, soothing and healing my fractured nerves. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Ever so slowly, my mind empties. The darkness it leaves behind like an endless abyss, waiting to be filled. After a few more moments, something clicks into place, like the download button in my brain has regained power once again. Trying to hold all other thoughts at bay, I part my lips and speak the one word that hangs like a neon light in the back of my mind. Des. Des, that's my name. A breath of fresh air washes over me, the frustration beginning to recede. I try to push my mind a little bit further, a last name or even my home. But the more I try, the more the black hole of my memory sucks me into nothingness. Nothing comes to mind, not even the slightest inkling. I decide not to push it any more for now. My first name will have to do. Slowly, I open my eyes again, a smile tugging at my lips as my eyes fall upon June and that contagious, lopsided grin of his. I'm Des. Jun grins wider, and it's one of those smiles that reaches his eyes and wrinkles the skin beside them. It's a pleasure to meet you, Des. Do you remember anything else? I search my mind, every darkened crevice and corner, but come up short. No. Jun lets out a sigh as if it burdens him to be the one to tell me whatever comes next. This might not be easy to hear. There was an attack on the palace in Stiltavai on the planet Goldus. I found you unconscious nearby. A bridge had collapsed. Well, it had been destroyed, actually. Our medic healed what she could, but we never expected memory loss to be a factor. Perhaps you lived around the area. Does any of this sound familiar to you? I recall the city, capital of the planet Goldus, but did I live there? Do I have a life there or a family waiting for me? My mind seems bathed in darkness, coming up blank with each attempt to remember my past. I'm sorry, I remember the city, but nothing past that. Jun nods as he thinks, absently fidgeting with the bracelet around his wrist. It could be some type of short-term memory loss. We'll have our medic look over you again. If you remember where you're from, we can help get you back there. There must be someone waiting for you. There isn't. The words leave my mouth before I can stop them, but somehow I know it's true, and even if it isn't, what good would it be if I can't even remember them? Jun shifts in his chair, but I cut in before he has a chance to say more. All I know right now is my name. I have to thank you for that. It's a start, right? I chew on my bottom lip anxiously, feeling his eyes flicker over me and knowing that he's not fooled by my casual act. An uneasiness settles in my stomach, and I think that perhaps I'm more shaken up than I've let on. The only consolation is that Jun seems worried enough for the both of us. I'll take you to see our medic. She'll be able to help you far better than I can. Jun extends a hand to help me stand, and when I take it, his skin is surprisingly warm, a stark contrast to the chill of the air-conditioned ship. Despite the roughness of his skin and the calluses on his fingers, his touch is gentle. For a moment, I think I might be okay to stand on my own, but when I let go of his hand, my legs buckle beneath me. Letting out a yelp, I fall backwards for only a second before a strong arm wraps around my waist, holding me up. Des, are you alright? Yeah, I'm okay. If you wanted to get closer, you could have asked. So, from the description of the game, this whole game does not have to be romantic. I can pretty much play this entire game without any relationships, affiliations, anything like that. I think I just want to play this for what I would probably answer. Maybe? I don't know. I did that with that pigeon dating sim, and I answered how I normally would have, and I died in that one, so maybe I shouldn't answer how I normally would. Yeah, I'm okay. Go with something simple. Jun keeps his arm around me until I'm confident I can stand on my own, and even after he lingers close by until I'm balancing on my own 2 feet. And besides, I just met Jun. I don't just want to start hitting on the poor guy. That was a close one. Thanks. Don't mention it. Ooh. I'm cut short when the lights above us blink on and off and the ship lurches, prompting Jun to steady me with a hand on my arm once again. What was that? Oh, technical issues. What kind of technical issues? I raised an eyebrow at him. The last thing I need is to be stranded on a broken starship with no memory. One crisis at a time, thank you very much. It's nothing to worry about. Come on, I'll take you to the infirmary. I follow Jun out of the room and down a short corridor where he stops in front of a set of blue transparent double doors. Is it weird that we're not even, I don't know, probably 10. Whatever my recording would be, because there's still a lot of editing that I need to take out, but it feels like Jun's already hiding something from me. I don't know. This is where I leave you, and I should probably get to the bridge before all hell breaks loose. The alarm must show on my face because he shakes his head and chuckles softly. Nothing to worry about. Head on in and Rona will take care of you. Thank you, Jun. He pauses for a moment, giving me a strange look that I can't quite place. And then just as quickly, it's gone. He looks worried. You're welcome, Des. I'll see you again soon. He smiles gently before he turns and disappears down the corridor, and I turn to the doors in front of me. It's clean and fresh. I enter the infirmary as cautious and quiet as a rabbit avoiding a trap, not quite knowing what to expect. After getting to know June a little, I can only come to the conclusion that he's a good guy, and it seems like he was telling the truth about me not being a prisoner here. The first thing I notice as I pace through the infirmary is the smell. It smells clean, but not in that sterile medical way. More like dewy grass and fresh rain, like the open air and sky. It reminds me of a cool spring morning, though I can't recall ever having ever experienced one. It's almost homey. Oh, you're awake. The voice that startles me is surprisingly soft, and my head tilts to follow the sound. Hi. The woman who approaches me is Talara. Talara. By the look of her luminescent skin and her bright yellow eyes. I'm Rona. It's good to finally see you up and about. You had us worried for a while there. You're the one who's been looking after me? She smiles, and there's something so calming about it that it soothes me right down to my aching bones. I'm reluctant to let my guard down so easily, but her presence hardly inspires fear. Yes, I'm the medic here. And your name is? Des. Pleasure to meet you, Des. Please, take a seat. Let's have a look at you. She gestures with long, thin fingers towards the medical chair that's positioned in the center of the room, and I follow her instructions, crinkling the sheets of plastic beneath me as I sit. I hate that at the medical offices. So, how are you feeling? I had a pretty bad headache earlier, but June gave me a couple of painkillers earlier, which helped. Good. I'm glad he remembered them. Apart from that, I think I'm fine. I hesitate, and she cocks her head to the side, watching me curiously. Is there something else? Well... I haven't been able to remember much besides my name. I see. Lorna grabs a long silver wand from a nearby table and holds it in front of me. May I? I nod, and she lights the tip with a swish, shining the blue lights on the end into my eyes, one after the other. I suspected you had a concussion when they brought you in here. You seem to have hit your head rather hard. I cleaned it up and lasered the wound back together, but I'm afraid there's not a lot I can do for memory loss. Well, at least she cleaned up my head. She inspects the old wound next, and her fingers are cool against my scalp. She gives an approving hum at whatever she finds there. Wow, that stumped my brain. Have you noticed any issues with your vision or coordination? I can't stand. The silver wand is pressed gently inside my ear before Rona pulls it back out and inspects the strange illuminated symbols on the side. My balance was a little off at first. Since then, apart from the memory thing, I've been feeling fine. Rona holds the wand in front of my face vertically, and a blue light washes over me, blinking for a few seconds before it dissipates entirely. When I follow her gaze to the screen behind me, the images have changed, depicting a series of numbers and icons I don't understand. Your scans are relatively normal, aside from some bruising here and there, though that's to be expected. She stands back and studies me carefully, her nose crinkled slightly in thought. Physically, you're healing well. If you've already remembered your name, my best guess would be a mild case of retrograde amnesia. Amnesia? Yes, it's more common than you may think following a head injury, though I can't say that every patient heals in the same way. But it will heal, won't it? Rona gives me a sad smile, and it's only now that I can tell she's just as unsure as I am. Only time will tell, but perhaps if I ask you some questions, they might trigger a memory? It's worth a shot. Let's see. We'll start with something easy. Where did you live? I'm gonna say in a big city. I could say, I guess I can just have the story however I want it. Where was it that June had mentioned finding me? Goldus? That's probably the most logical answer. Goldus? Rona gives me a curious look, her yellow eyes making some kind of assessment. That's where we found you, yes, but do you actually remember it? I try once more to come up with some glimpse of my past, but it's to no avail. My mind seems as though it has a thick layer of fog covering it and it refuses to part. I don't know. My frustration must show on my face because Rona gives me an encouraging smile. It's all right. Let's try another question. Do you have any siblings? I don't know. I search my mind, desperate for any memory of family, but nothing surfaces. I don't know. Rona gives me a sad smile. It doesn't seem to be a good sign. I see. Don't push yourself too hard. We can try again later. I nod and glance around the room, and once again I'm hit by that smell. I notice now that there's something else mixed into it. Something sweet, almost fruity. Can I ask what that scent is? Oh, it's my mister. Rona gestures to the small cylinder-shaped object in the corner of the room, glowing faintly. I can program it to replicate scents. This one is from my home planet, Talaran. She giggles unexpectedly, as if she didn't mean to say that. I guess I'm a little homesick. Do you have family there? Do you have family there? You must miss them too. She blinks a little at the question, but rights herself in an instant. Yes, I have family there, but to be perfectly honest, my parents never had a lot of time for me when I was growing up. I miss my home, but I've always wanted to travel the system. I've seen far more these past few years than most Talari will see in their entire lives. Her face falls, and I get the impression that not all of what she's seen is good. Come on, Des. Not many of us ever leave Talarian. With a home so beautiful, I suppose it's difficult to see why anyone would. But I had my reasons. Why did you leave? If you don't mind me asking. She smiles sadly, and I can't help but to feel a little of the emotion myself sinking into my skin like dew. I wanted to help people that no one else would. It's kind of you. Was it worth leaving your home? Were you able to help them? I don't want to dig in this poor girl. I don't even know her. I don't know of many people who would do such a thing. It's very kind of you. I thought it would be, but not all good intentions are welcomed. Her face changes, that sadness I've seen glimpses of every now and then rising to the surface once more. I'm not sure what possesses me to do so, but I lay a hand on her arm in comfort, feeling the cool surface of luminescent skin beneath my fingers. Seeing her like this stirs something in me, some urge to do something to see her smile again. I'm sorry to hear that, but if it helps, I'm very grateful for you taking such good care of me. Her lips curve upwards, and there's something beautiful about the softness of her eyes, the pink blush across her skin. Thank you. But I'm simply doing my job. You needed help. I couldn't just leave you. You could have, but I'm glad you didn't. I wonder, in the destruction of the town, or, the capital they were in, was I the only one worth saving, or are there more? Or did everyone perish? Oh, Jesus. The ship lurches violently, and Rona and I grab hold of the chair, fixed securely to the floor to keep ourselves from flying across the room. Again? What was that? Oh, it may just be a gas cloud. Our pilot is usually good at avoiding them, but sometimes the autopilot veers us too close. I look her over, trying to decipher the truth. Technical issues. A gas cloud. Somehow I get the impression that both of those are a cover. Hopefully not for anything worse. Well, we're all done here. Best of luck if you go back to your room and get some rest. Your body hasn't fully recovered. Do you think you can find your way back on your own? I'm sure I'll manage. Okay, that's good. I'll bring you some food and fresh clothes in a little while and check in on how you're doing. Thank you for taking care of me. It's no trouble at all. Now off you go, and make sure to rest. I exit the infirmary and head back in the direction June and I had come from to find the room I was in. At least I think it was this way. Oh, Lord. As I continue walking down the corridor, all of the doors look the same to me, and I realize that I should have let Rona show me the way after all. With no other options, I keep going. The corridors are a mix of metal walls and elaborate circuitry, fluorescent lights evenly spaced hanging from the ceiling, the occasional patch holding metal sheets together. I look around for some kind of sign, but find nothing, stopping only when I come to the next door. It's larger than the rest of them. It must lead somewhere important. Okay, this is definitely not where I'm meant to be. Curiosity gets the better of me, and while I know I should be resting per the medic's orders, I can't stop myself from exploring the space. I descend the stairs, passing by crates and various equipment, until I notice a small porthole on one of the walls. Stepping closer, I peek through the window, finding the view to be absolutely breathtaking. The vast dark abyss of the universe is laid bare in front of me, and as I count the stars in the distance, I wonder, am I truly from Goldus? Somewhere out there, the answers wait for me, I'm sure of it. Somewhere in the system lies the key to my true self. My only fear is that it may be unwise for me to go chasing the ghost of my past. Perhaps this all happened to me for a reason. Perhaps I'd be better off leave the ghost buried and start anew, but something tells me deep down that I need to know. Well, look who's up and running. I'm startled by a voice behind me and jump, turning to find the source. Relax, kid. I'm not gonna... Holy shit! Is that what all the racket is down there? The man who had previously interrupted me steps up to a nearby door, pausing as he studies the panel beside it. When he turns to me again, he swears under his breath, rubbing a hand over the back of his neck. This is not good. The captain's gonna flip his lid when he hears there's a hole in the cargo hold. I'm sorry, a hole in the what? You mean the ship? Is it safe for us to be here? I can feel the panic rising again, the fear that we could be sucked out into space at any moment sounding like a very real possibility. The man paces a few steps as he mumbles to himself, looking at the door nervously before turning to me. Don't worry, the door is airtight. I'm more worried about the lot of supply we had stored in there. When I don't say anything, his lips pull into a tight line. Small fruit? Only grows on Tellurian? I shrug my shoulders and he lets out a defeated sigh. Doc gets cranky without her special fruit, and you do not want to see her when she's cranky. Come on, let's head to the bridge. We can chat on the way. He turns briskly, and I debate running in the opposite direction before I think better of it, and I'm forced to jog to catch up with him. It's not like he seems mean. I follow the man up the stairs and back into the corridor where he's waiting for me, a friendly smile curving his lips. I'm Bash, by the way. You got a name? Des. Pleasure. So, Des, how the hell did you end up in the middle of the coop on Goldus? The coop? I don't remember. You don't remember how you got there? I don't remember anything. Well, except my name. June helped me with that. He smiles at that and thinks it over for a moment before he speaks again. Well, that's brilliant. Think about it. It's not every day you get to make up a brand new identity. True that. You want to pick a new name? If you do it quickly, I won't tell anyone you swapped it. Not that there's anything wrong with the one you've got, but think of all the choices. I stare at him stunned, and after a moment or two, his face drops in realization. Unless you're not happy about all this. Shit, I'm sorry. Sometimes it takes my head a few seconds to catch up with my mouth, you know? Okay, I've never heard truer words in my life. That's me sometimes. It was a good idea. Hey, it was a good idea, truly. And who knows, I may consider it, but only after I figured out a few more things about myself first. Who knows? There might be something worth keeping. He grins, his smile wide and warm, and suddenly I feel like this place might not be so bad. Well, if you need help coming up with new names, let me know. I've got a ton of ideas. And hey, I get it. There's nothing like falling on your ass to make you feel like nothing in this damn world makes any sense anymore. If it's any consolation, I've been there once or twice myself. His smile turns sad, and I've had a hard time imagining anything in the world bringing down the bundle of energy in front of me. My eyes drift to the tattoos flickering over his skin, the ink glowing luminescent under the starship's lights, and then to the bionic arm at his side, a network of metal plates and connectors, intrinsically woven together. On closer inspection, I noticed that the hastily patched repair job in oil-stained bandages holding parts of it together. I can't keep a smile from tilting my lips. Do the bionics make you nervous? I snap my gaze to his face, embarrassed at being caught staring, and when he laughs, I can't help but feel like he's laughing at me. Have you never seen bionics before? Your mouth is practically dragging on the floor. No, I've seen them before, I don't know. Maybe I've never seen them up close. Oh, that's it, is it? You're open for a closer look. Oh man, I don't want to flirt back. Just blush. It's fine. He waggles his eyebrows at me suggestively, and I feel my face flush with heat. You're adorable when you get all flustered, you know that? What? That's not fair. I wasn't expecting you to tease me like that. Bash laughs and walks ahead a little more, saying quietly under his breath, but still loud enough for me to hear. Utterly adorable. We fall into step next to each other, and I trust Bash's knowledge of the ship to lead me to the right place this time. Do your bionics give you any special abilities? Bash flexes his bionic arm in front of him, making a fist and relaxing again. His face is strange all of a sudden. This is stronger than any old human arm. Faster, too. Crushes steel as easily as a tin can. Ooh. Pardon me, but the real moneymaker is this. He gestures to his left eye, giving me the opportunity to study it closer. It's obvious at first glance that there's something different about it. The way it pulses a bright electric yellow makes his right eye, a dark forest green, seem almost dull in comparison. Infrared sight, X-ray vision, advanced targeting. I instinctively move to cover myself, but when he laughs heartily, I stop, dropping my arms to my side and feeling a little foolish. Relax, kid. You'll know when it's activated. It glows red. That's terrifying. I laugh at myself, trying to recover from my awkward reaction. And the tattoos? Purely ornamental, though I like to think they add to my overall formidable appearance. Yeah, they kinda do. They're cool though, I like it. An ungraceful snort escapes me before I can stop it, but then I hesitate, deciding how to word the question that's posed on my lips without sounding like I'm digging for the gory details. How did you end up with them? I mean, if you don't mind me asking. He grimaces, and I'm immediately aware of how intrusive I'm being. Sorry, you don't have to answer that. I'll make you a deal. When something worth sharing pops into that head of yours, I'll tell you. Alright, you've got a deal. He grins at me, and I find it amazing how he seems to shrug things off so easily, as though his entire being is dedicated to only the good things in life. So what do you think of our humble abode? Ignoring the fact, of course, that there's a great fucking hole in the cargo hold. I chuckle at the way Bash manages to flip something as serious as a hole in the spaceship to something of mere inconvenience. I haven't seen much of it yet. In fact, before I ran into you, I was pretty lost. No one's given you a tour? The outrage! You think we're a band of bloody savages if you didn't know any better. Have you met the captain yet? No. Bash gives a scoff of a laugh, then shakes his head in amusement. Probably for the best. That man's got a chip on his shoulder like I've never seen before. Just stay clear of his warpath and you'll be okay, kid. Let's see, who else do we have around here? You said you've already met June. Watch out for that pet of his. Sharp teeth and confined spaces are not a good mix, let me tell you now. Don't ask me how I know. His pet? You'll know it when you see it. Trust me. He shudders, and now I'm even more intrigued. Somehow I'll have to find a way of meeting this pet. There's the pilot, too. Now there's a pocket rocket if I ever seen one. Too bad she wasn't a fan of the water tank plans I drew up. Perhaps she'd be more obliging. What I wouldn't give to see a full-blown space mermaid in all their watery glory. Space mermaids. His mind drifts elsewhere, and when I clear my throat, he shrugs and shakes his head. She'd rather live a lowly old human. Can't see the sense in that, personally. Rona was the one who patched you up. You've met her, I'm guessing. Yeah, we've been introduced. She seems lovely. Yeah, she is. Well, there's plenty I could say about her, but I'll save it for another time. His face changes as he talks about Rona. It becomes softer somehow. Oh, someone has a crush. You've obviously met me, the most handsome, intelligent engineer on the side of Kellis X. I would say that's all you need to know, but I'm sure there was someone else. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting someone? He holds a finger against his lips, and I can't tell if he's serious or if this is all just for dramatic effect. He snaps his fingers in front of him, grinning at me as we walk through a set of double doors. Ah, yes, the assassin. Says he's a spy, but between me and you, I can see him sneaking up on me from a mile away. He leans in closer to whisper the last part, his eyes glinting with an unmistakable mischief. He's always lurking in the shadows, playing with his knives. You know, this one time, I swear I saw him. Saw me what? Ah! Damon, hey, I was just telling this newbie here all about our happy little crew. Delightful. Please don't let me stop you. You know what? I think I hear the captain calling my name. Thanks, Bash. What's that, Cap? Bash is already halfway across the bridge before I have the chance to say goodbye, leaving me standing on my own at the entrance. Well, not entirely on my own, as Damon is still leaning nonchalantly against the wall next to me. I spare him a nervous glance, my skin prickling under his cold stare. The way he's looking me over makes me feel like I'm not so much a guest on the ship, but his prey. Trying to ignore his unnerving presence, I survey the front of the ship. The room is spacious, control panels spread across the front, 2 seats for the pilot and co-pilot, surrounded by a domed window and a cluster of seats behind them. I step forward to see through the window up ahead. The view of Soleta is even more breathtaking from here. I'm gonna pretend that's how to pronounce it. I have no idea which planet we're currently passing, but somehow it makes me feel unnervingly small, a tiny, insignificant speck alone in this vast galaxy. The drifting sound of arguing reaches me, and a couple of people I don't recognize, coupled with June and Bash, pace about the room. Over the grinding of engines and the whirl of electronics, I can't quite make out what they're saying, but when I feel a slinking presence behind me, dark and ominous, entirely dangerous, doesn't matter anyway. The skin on the back of my neck prickles. Everyone I've met so far has been welcoming in their own way, but this man, Damon, Bash called him, feels anything but. My eyes flick to the side, and I know, even before I see, that he's watching me. Join the others, hang back. I want to hang back. I want to know more about this Damon character. Is he dangerous to me? On second thought, it might not be such a good idea to barge into the middle of a debate between people I don't know, on a ship I don't belong on, in the middle of nowhere. Tensions hang in the air so thick you can cut it with a blade. I see now that any interruption would be less than welcome. Good to know you're not as dumb as you look. A silky voice startles me, and I turn to find Damon standing closer than I expected, staring me down through cold, calculated eyes. He speaks with a tone that leaves me unsure of his intentions, and holds a thin blade between his forefinger and thumb, seeing it quickly upon catching my wandering eyes. In here I thought, after we found you smack dab in the middle of an attack on the royal palace, that you were a total write-off. Maybe I was wrong. I stare at him dumbly, baffled by the way he exudes so much charm, yet comes off so utterly disrespectful all at the same time. Tall, dark, and handsome is an understatement for the man in front of me, but there's something else too. Something venomous lingering beneath that wolfish smile, something that seems almost cruel in comparison to the beauty of the rest of him. Damon lets out a long, dramatic sigh as he sizes me up. No, something about your slack-jawed, half-witted stare tells me I most certainly wasn't. You're a douche. The hell did you say to me? Did I ask for your opinion? Say nothing. What the hell did you say to me? Did I? Yes. I should be the bigger person and ignore him, but I'm not. And after what he just said, I don't want to be. Oh, I'm sorry. Did my telepathic mind powers ask for your opinion? Damon blinks, as though he hadn't anticipated that kind of response from me. Yeah, he does look horrifically confused. Thank you so much, O wisest of sages, for gifting me with your words. I roll my eyes at him dismissively. This insufferable man is clearly intent on pushing my buttons, and although I'm trying to keep my cool, he's succeeding. Look, I wasn't the one who decided to haul your ass into the ship. You'd still be stuck in the middle of that battle on Gaulis for all I care. He shrugs nonchalantly and leans back against the wall, seeming content to ignore me. What's your problem? You. You come in here waltzing around and getting all up in our business. I don't trust you. I mean, he's being a douche, but he's not necessarily wrong. I'm literally someone that doesn't even know who I am. I can't even tell these guys who I am. That could be a liability in the bigger scheme of things, but he doesn't even be a dick about it. The hardness in his eyes would be enough to dismantle anyone, so I scrunch my nose at him and make my voice even harder. You don't even know me. Exactly. With a scoff, I turn to leave the bridge, thoroughly done with both this conversation and Damon himself. Where are you going? A silky voice stops me in my tracks, and when I turn to Damon, he's studying me curiously, as if I were some specimen in a lab. Back to my room. But we've only just started having fun. He pushes himself away from the wall and steps toward me with an unnatural feline grace. You know what else I'm good at? Finding out what people want. What they really want. The hell's that supposed to mean? What is it that you truly desire, Des? What the hell are you, Lucifer? His voice still holds what seems to be a perpetually snarky undertone, but something about his question makes my blood run cold. Regaining my memories would be a good start. Pff, that's too easy. He rolls his cold blue eyes at me, clearly unsatisfied with my answer. Everyone wants something. It's usually dark, twisted, and depraved, but it's what makes us who we are. So what do you want? I don't know. Nothing really. Liar. His hooded eyes slide over me suggestively, his lips pulling up to one side. I'll find out what it is, sooner or later. I'd like to see you try. I love that there's a blush, like this is a flirting thing. And let's be honest, I know people flirt like this. I'm weird too. Not dismissive, I'm not a dick, but just, you know, you're tease. This almost reminds me of when people are being mean to each other. Like a guy is mean to a girl or girl is mean to a guy and they're like, oh my god, they must like you. And it's like, he's being horribly mean and manipulative towards me. Which I feel like that's gonna be Damon's thing. Even if I... Aw, there's a note here. I love Bash. I wonder who wrote that. But I feel like this man is going to be very narcissistic and manipulative, but he may surprise me. I'd like to see you try. You can try, but I doubt you'll get far. What makes you think I'd ever open up to you? What makes you think you wouldn't? Damn, that's a comeback. Okay, that's a good one. He takes a step toward me and cocks his head to the side, the fluorescent lights of the ship casting shadows over his sharp features. Being near Damon feels like being stuck between opposite ends of a magnet. He pushes you away only to reel you back in again with that same fiery intensity. I don't move until his cool fingers grab my chin and tilt my face toward him, my body either unable or unwilling to distance myself from him. I'm always up for a challenge. If you're offering, of course. I hope you don't disappoint. Jesus, what the hell's going on here? I swallow around the lump in my throat, knowing I'm being lured into one of his traps, and yet unable to keep a conspicuous grin from tugging at my lips. Damon pulls his bottom lip between his teeth, squeezing my chin once again before he drops his hand and relinquishes his hold. The ghost of his touch lingers, and I find myself unable to move, to breathe, to do anything other than stand here dumbly and pretend that my insides don't feel like they're slowly but surely caving inwards. Eventually, I clear my throat and awkwardly will my limbs to loosen. Damon chuckles at my attempts to compose myself, his eyes gleaming with the prospect of a challenge. I'm still lost in the moment when footsteps approach, heavy-set and clipped, and a gruff voice calls towards us. Reznor. Damon rolls his eyes, and his lips curl into a smirk as he winks at me, blue eyes glinting with amusement. Smartass. He steps back slowly, one foot behind the other, and slides his hand into his pockets as he turns and grins in that infuriating way. Yes, dear? Is this really the time to be messing around? Damon gasped, holding a hand to his chest in mock offense. Messing around? Me? Why, Commander, I would never. You guys look so cozy over there, and you know I would never want to intrude. The Commander inhales sharply, shutting his eyes and pinching the bridge of his nose in clear annoyance. Why are you... He stops, fixing Damon with a dark stare, one that says don't fuck with me, among other things. You know what? This isn't the time for your bullshit, Damon. I need you to go and do your thing, and tell Bash to get Oppa on the line. He'll be paying a visit. Oppa! Oppa! Yes, sir. Damon gives a mock salute, pulling on a pair of black leather gloves and looking thoroughly unimpressed at being interrupted. He turns back before he leaves the bridge, sparing a single glance over his shoulder. Don't wait up for me. Not sure which one of us he's speaking to, and in the end I decide I'd rather not know. With a thick swallow, I turn back to the other man, steeling myself against the wrath Damon so generously invoked in him. Damon was unnerving in his own kind of way, but this man is downright terrifying. Tall, rigid, and with a scowl so intimidating it makes my blood run cold. Looks like the warm welcome ended with Bash. What are you doing here? Folding his arms over his broad chest, he stares me down, and I try my hardest not to shrink under his glacial glare. Excuse me? He lets out an exasperated huff of air, his sharp jaw tensing with frustration. Look, I don't have time to babysit a stowaway. Do us all a favor and keep off the bridge, will you? What else am I supposed to do? And what else am I supposed to do? That's not my problem. June was the one who brought you aboard. Why don't you go and bother him? This dude seems like more of a dick than Damon. What? I'm sorry. Did I not make myself clear? Stay out of my way. I blink at him stupidly, attempting to contemplate how exactly one man can be so obnoxious. Play nice now, Cauldron. A feminine voice calls out from somewhere over to the side, but if anything, it only seemed to make the captain even more annoyed. My eyes flick up over him involuntarily. He has the look of a soldier. Strong jaw, stiff back, stuck up his ass about a mile long. Look, I really don't have time for... Ayem, get the ship on course. We are not stopping by the ruins. I don't give a shit what time of year it is. The woman barks something at him, and I back away slowly, thinking it's probably best to keep out of his way after all. I've barely made it 3 steps before he turns, sapphire eyes landing on me in a cold stare and freezing me in place. You're from Goldus. The way he says it isn't a question, but it catches me off guard nonetheless. What? That's where we picked you up, right? Right. So tell me, do you really think this new guy in power, Zovak, is going to be any better than the greedy son of a bitch before him? A flash of anger passes over his features so quickly I would have missed it if I wasn't looking closely. My eyebrows knit together, confused. Maybe Rona was mistaken about my accident. I feel less like I've taken a blow to the head and more like I've been dropped into another galaxy entirely. I don't know. He sneers at me, his lips curled cruelly, and immediately I know I've struck a nerve. You don't know. Isn't that what all you Goldians wanted? A fucking liberator? Back off, Captain. The woman, Ayami, warns him, her voice low with enough venom coating it to be threatening. Calderon snorts, ignoring her. How do I know you're not one of these lackeys? Maybe this whole memory loss play was a way to get on this ship. You think I want this? To not know who I am? Who knows what you'd say to worm your way into my crew? He takes the steps toward me, and it's so intimidating that it takes everything I have not to move a muscle. You're unbelievable. And you're becoming a pain in my ass, so I'm going to ask you one last time. He points a finger at me, and I resist the urge to shove it away. Are you working for Jess Zovak? Who? I don't even know who that is. He closes his eyes and pinches the bridge of his nose tight, and I can almost see whatever shard of patience he had for me left withered and died. I don't know what else he expected of me to say. I have no idea who this Zovak is. Just tell me what the hell you're doing on my ship. Your guess is as good as mine. Sounds to me like I need to have a word with June about picking up strays. My chest heaves with anger and I hold my tongue. He is the captain after all, even if his manners leave much to be desired. At this point, I'd rather be talking to Damon. Know this, until we reach our destination, all eyes will be on you. I'm not your enemy, you don't need to be so paranoid. Paranoia is the least of my worries. Zovak is not a man to be trifled with. If you don't like him, then maybe he's not so bad. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. It takes only a second to know that this was the wrong thing to say. His lips curl back from his teeth, revealing a scowl so venomous my eyes widen. Not so bad? You think murder, deceit, and radicalism is not so bad? His growl echoes straight through me and I inhale sharply, meeting him head on. Zovak, the bastard who forced the Crown Council to name him king. But not before killing the entire royal family. Think about that, will you? King Vernus and the 3 queens and their 11 children. Murdered. Am I one of the 11 children? That'd be kind of wicked. His eyes are blazing, the fury made obvious by the growl in his voice and the flush of his skin. Now, how about you tell me again how he's not so bad? Oh, for F's sake, Calderon. Have you really got to be a raging asshole 98% of the time? She grabs Calderon by the arm, hoisting him back a step while she glares up at him. She's not responsible for the mess we're in. He fixes her with an equally hard stare, the tension between them palpable as he grits out from between clenched teeth. Set the course, now. Would it kill you to say please? Please! She rolls her eyes at him as she storms back to the cockpit controls. I guess that's the pilot. The confusion must show on my face because when Calderon turns to me again, he lets out a defeated sigh, rubbing his hand over his face tiredly. You really don't remember anything. His voice surprisingly gentle now, and I shake my head, unable to tear my gaze away from his. Yeah, I would not trust turning my back to him. What are you talking about? There's something about those eyes. Calderon's got a wall around him about a mile high. That much is obvious. But every now and then there's a flicker of something. If I didn't know better, I'd say it was sadness. He inhales sharply, the red flush of anger melting away as he waves a dismissive hand at me. Whatever. I've got shit to do. Head back to your room. It's yours for the time being. I'll have someone check on you later. Just agree. I'm still reeling after this confrontation, but there isn't any point in prolonging the argument. It's clear this man is as stubborn as a mule. Fine. Fine. Good. Great. We pause for a moment and stare at each other, and when he grins, there's something about it that catches me off guard and has me struggling to right myself. Good to see you have some common sense after all. I'm walking away now. Wait. What did you say your name was? I didn't, but it's Des. He gives me a strange look, eyebrows corked, and then he shakes his head as if deciding he doesn't care after all. Well, whoever you are, we'll be dropping you off at the Tillion once we get there. I suggest you come up with a plan before then. The streets of Novega are not kind to the unprepared. Damn, you're just like dumping me off like a puppy. Until then, unless you can do something useful, which I highly doubt, stay out of the way. He turns to leave the room, but not before giving me another once-over, sizing me up. I stand there dumbly as I watch the captain leave the bridge, the sound of his heavy-set footsteps appearing beneath the hiss of the closing door. Sorry about him. It isn't personal if it helps. You don't need to apologize. I glare towards the door that Calderon had just disappeared through, his words still rubbing me in all the wrong places. You're not the one who should be apologizing. Huh, you sound just like him. Thanks. In an instant, my dark glower snapped from the door to Ayami. Being compared to the captain is certainly not something I appreciate. I'm sorry, but trust me on this. Calderon is complicated, and he's a good guy deep down. Are you two dating? Very deep down. There's nothing complicated about being civil or having basic manners. Or both. Come on. I saw you talking to Damon before Calderon came around. He's not exactly Lord of Niceville either. Yeah, but at least he didn't call me useless. Oh. She sighs as she tugs on a thin braid hanging from her shoulder and blows out a breath. Well, we're all a little cuckoo around here. Try not to let it get to you. Like I said, it's nothing personal. Besides, I can teach you a thing or two. Like how to tell them both to take a hike. In a more colorful language, of course. She laughs, and the sound is infectious. Soon enough, I'm smiling with her, and it's a relief to know that the ship is not entirely filled with douchebags. A thought suddenly crosses my mind that perhaps Amaya and Calder are more than just crewmates or friends. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They would certainly make an odd pair, but they do seem pretty close. Though the last thing I want is to pry. When it comes down to it, it's really none of my business. What's on your mind? I could hear the cogs turning from here. If you want to ask me something, go ahead, I won't bite. Unless you want me to. Damn. Ask her. Don't ask, I want to know! Yes, I want to know! It's nothing really. I was just wondering if... you and the captain seem close. Are you two... My voice trails off at the expression on her face, one that shifts from careless confidence into something in utter disbelief. Ugh. You want to know if we're a thing? A laugh escapes her. one that I would dare say borders on hysterical. I watch as she runs a hand through her hair, drawing my attention to the gear attached to the side of her head. It looks like advanced technology, but what really catches my eyes are the thin gills on the side of her neck, moving ever so slightly with each breath that she takes. So she's the same species I am, or same race, I guess. She's Kiplefun. That's what I chose. The feeling of familiarity makes me smile. It's nice to know we have something else in common. We're definitely not a couple. Never. Ew. Gross. She makes a gagging sound before snorting with laughter once again. He's more like a lame older brother. We're in Oresh's guard together, and we've looked out for each other for as long as I can remember. Oh. That makes a lot more sense, actually. I feel a little foolish at having thought otherwise. Hang on, you really asked me if I'm single before you've even properly been introduced? Yes. But not in that way. I'm not flirting with you. And I thought I was the bold one. Oh hell, now I'm gonna be in a predicament with this one. Her grin widens and I open my mouth to protest, only to realize that there's no argument. I did ask her relationship status before introducing myself. This is awkward. My name's Ayami, though I'm sure you've already guessed by now by the way Cal was shouting it at me earlier. But please, call me Aya. Ayami sounds so Calderon, don't you think? I didn't mean to be rude. The only thing that comes to mind is how rude it was of me to start asking questions about her personal life without even introducing myself. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. It's nice to meet you, Aya. I'm Des. I smile at her and extend a hand, which she shakes while chuckling quietly. I was only teasing you. Don't sweat it. Besides, I noticed I'm not your type. I love how she's just like, I've noticed you don't like me. Huh? What does that mean? Oh, nothing. It's nice to meet you too, Des. And hey, if you ever need a bodyguard around here, I'm available for hire. I wonder if she's saying that because we're both from the same, like, race? Like, do they not like to date each other, or are they never... I don't know. That is kind of weird. I wonder where she would have gotten that from. If Cal ever gives you shit again, let me know and I'll show you how to knock him on his ass. She wiggles her eyebrows and grins at me, mischief brightening her violet eyes. I return the smile she gives me, but thinking about that, however, brings back the memory of Cauldron and his ultimatum, and it quickly fades. I hardly know the people of this ship, but somehow the thought of being alone out there in the world, not knowing where I came from, is nothing short of terrifying. Hey, what killed your mood? June filled us all in on what was happening with you. I'm sorry, by the way. Did you just remember something? I wish. No, I'm just not sure how much longer I'll be here. Why's that? You got someplace to go? No, not particularly. The captain made it pretty clear that I'll be on my own once we get to Terranium. Aya's eyebrows shot up as she stares at me, a mixture of shock and anger twisting her features. What the? He said he's dropping you off in Terranium? Yes. It's your next stop, isn't it? It is, but... Do you know anyone? Got any place to go? Any plans? I shake my head over and over in answer to her questions. My past is still very much a blur, and these people are the only ones I remember knowing. With an exasperated huff, Aya throws her hands in the air, pacing the floor in front of me. Ugh! Is he out of his freaking mind? No, he must have completely lost it now. It's okay, Aya, I can take care of myself. I'll ask around and get a job or something to keep me going while I try to get my life in order. I try to reassure her because the last thing I want is to cause trouble for one of the few people who have been so kind to me. This crew has already saved my life. It doesn't seem right to ask for any more from them than that. Aya stops pacing, pulling her bottom lip between her teeth as she turns to me. It's not fine. A job? Fending for yourself in that place when you don't even know your last name? She pulls a hand on my shoulder and looks me dead in the eye. At once I begin to understand a little of how she manages to keep a pair like Damon and Cauldron in check. Look, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna let that dumbass leave you stranded and... She stops at the sound of the opening door and the sight of the figure who steps inside the bridge with us. Des, what are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to get some rest? Oh, she's mad at me. Don't be mad at me. I'm startled by the harshness of Rona's tone, turning to find the medic staring at me with her hands on her hips and her foot tapping expectantly. What's all the fuss about? Sorry, we were talking and then I found out some dumbass is thinking of doing something even dumber. I lost my cool, Ray. Rona's expression softens as her gaze settles on Aya. Then you go deal with it, Aya, but please don't drag Des along with you. She needs to rest if she has any hope of recovering her memories. You better do it, Rona says. You don't want to see her when she's mad. Ayami smiles at me sheepishly, giving my arm a quick, affectionate squeeze before she heads towards the door. Aye, aye, Doc. I'm on it. Her footsteps fade as she leaves, and when Rona turns to me, I brace myself. You should be resting, Des. Come on, I'll show you to your room. Her smile is soft, but the firmness of her voice makes it clear that I don't have a choice in the matter. Answering only with a small smile of my own, I follow her from the bridge. Rona safely delivers me to my room with a promise to check in on me later, and I promptly fall down into the bed with a sigh. Yeah, she probably came to my room with, like, the food and fresh clothes, and I just wasn't there, and she probably, like, tore the ship apart looking for me. My body's still achy enough to be a bother, and the time I've spent trapping around the ship hasn't done me any favors, so I'm assuming I just met everyone in the crew at this point. I didn't notice it so much at the time, but now that I'm here, resting doesn't sound half bad. Time passes, and after what feels like hours laying in bed, tossing and turning as I attempt to get some sleep, I eventually give up. I sit on the side of the bed and sigh, my mind stuck in an endless, exhausting loop. The harder I try to think about my past, the harder my brain seems to rebel against me. Nothing feels right, nothing at all. And on top of all that, I need to come up with a plan for when we get to Terrarion. I don't remember much of the Junker planet, but I know sure as hell it's not the kind of place you want to wind up alone. Gambling dens, arenas, bars, strip clubs. What exactly am I supposed to do in a place like that? I'm startled by a knock on the door, and with a sigh, I push myself to my feet and cross the room to answer it. When I hit the panel to open the door, I find myself face to face with... Oh crap, it's like everybody. You know what? I liked the back and forth they had with Damon. That was kind of fun. Not gonna lie, I do like the back and forth. Damon. I stare at the man leaning against the doorframe, his trademark grin methodically fixed in place as he sheaths his dagger and looks at me. What the hell, were you gonna stab me in the throat? Damon? No, I'm his ghost. I died from all the waiting I did out here. I roll my eyes involuntarily, noticing as he pushes himself away from the doorframe that his movements seem heavier than before. I wonder what doing his thing consisted of if it tires him out this much. Are you going to let me in or what? It seems like you're already in. Oh, sure. When you're asking so nicely. He doesn't let me finish before pushing me aside and strolling into the room anyway. He pulls out the small desk chair, huffing a sigh of relief when he sits. Against my better judgment, I let the door slide close behind me, meeting his lingering gaze with a pointed stare of my own. I cross the room to sit on the edge of the bed, feeling his eyes on me the entire time, setting my hair on end. Nice of you to wait up for me. Though I said there was no need. Smartass. What makes you think I was waiting for you? Maybe the fact that you're still awake. Is it like late at night or something? Funny, I don't remember sending you an invitation. And yet here I am. I scoff at him, but before I can say anything snarky in return, he looks around the room and lets out a low whistle. What a cozy little room you've got here. One can tell a lot about you by the blank expansion of empty space. Dull, stuffy. How are you sure this isn't Cal's room? I give him a withering glare and he chuckles under his breath, though something about it doesn't seem entirely amused. And I can't say that he's wrong. This room could certainly use some cheering up, though I can hardly get the chance to do it. Maybe the next OA can decorate more to your taste since I'll be out of here in a couple days. Captain's orders. Damon cocks an eyebrow, his expression shifting from mild surprise back to his usual stony mask before I can even be sure what happened at all. So what do you want, Damon? You seem tired. Is everything okay? I still have plenty of energy, if that's what you're asking. What the hell is happening? No, you're impossible, you know that? Impossibly handsome? I huff a breath and roll my eyes, though I've never tell him that his subtle, windswept hair does give him a certain roguish allure. Damon leans forward and sighs deeply, setting his stony gaze on me. I'm fine, and you shouldn't pry into shit you don't want to know the answer to. Is that like a... It's like such a threat. It's like that lowball threat of just like, yeah, shut your mouth and just stay. But I wonder if he knows, like, what's happening. Like, I'm basically going to be dumped at the next stop. Despite the chill that runs down my spine, he smiles at me in a way I haven't seen before. I act like a total prick, and you're still worried about me? You're weird. Has anyone ever told you that? Well, I doubt you'd remember if they did. I suppress the urge to slap him for the latest jab, and with a chuckle, Damon leans back in his chair and shakes his head at me. I fix things, and I know things. That's what our charming captain has me doing the whole damn day, fixing people's shit and asking politely for their information. Did Cal send you? He says nothing else, and I know there's no point in asking about it. He doesn't trust me, that's clear enough, and I'm not sure I trust him a whole lot either. What are you doing here, then? What, I can't come check on how the newbie's doing? I raise a skeptical eyebrow at the twitch of his lips, and in an instant his facade crumbles. You're right. I already know how you're doing. I had tiny cameras installed in your room after you arrived. My eyes go wide, scanning the room in horror, and Damon laughs as he pushes himself wearily to his feet. You're too much fun. And you're an ass. Is that so? Perhaps I won't give you this fancy-looking object we found in your pockets when June hurled you aboard, then. Reaching a gloved hand into the pocket of his coat, Damon pulls out a small spherical object and balances it between daft fingers. They told me to bring it back to you, but who knows, maybe I simply lost it along the way. Letting the object fall from his hand, I start to rush forward until he catches it swiftly, and I realize, much to my embarrassment, that he's toying with me. I glare at him unhappily, and he grins in that predatory way that makes my skin turn cold and hands the object over. I wonder, regardless of who I chose, I wonder if this would have happened. Or, like, if I chose Aya, would you tell me, like, Cauldron, you know, Cal is basically lying, I can stay. I don't know. Interesting theory. What is it? I reach for the object, feeling the cold touch of metal against my fingertips. How the hell am I supposed to know? You're the one who had it. I thought you knew things. I'll show you all the way I know how to disembowel someone if you're not careful. I smother my grin by biting on my lip, both amused and slightly terrified by Damon's dark stare. I'm just amused by all of this at this point. I wanted to sell it, but June insisted you got it back. It's made of that. We can tell that much. It was already rare enough before. Calphi went and blew up, and now it give us, or me I should say, a tiny profit to retire. On a beach. Somewhere warm. I examine the object in my hand, running a finger across the intricate filigree and the blue jewels set in the metal. It's small enough to hold in the palm of my hand, and it feels as though it has some weight to it. So just how rich were you in your past life? Or are you some kind of thief? I throw him a disbelieving look, though he only grins and points a gloved finger at the object. There's something inside, but no one can open it, and I'd never let them ruin easily money by forcing it. I'm only partly listening to Damon now, mesmerized instead by the small sphere in my hand. There's a kind of power about it, somehow low, thrumming energy that runs over my skin, desperate for release. Everything about it feels familiar. It feels like a secret. As if guided by some distant memory, I close my palm over the sphere, squeezing once before releasing it slowly. Sorry, Toes bumped my hand. Just want to make sure he was alright. The shock on Damon's face would have amused me to no end if I wasn't so absorbed by the sight in front of me. The first few notes of a tune tinkle from the sphere as it opens, and my eyes snap to Damon's, his face just as dumbfounded as my own. It's a music box. Aw, that's pretty. I love music boxes. I do have a small collection of them. The inside of the sphere is an intricate maze of moving cogs and soft blue lights. My eyes are memorized by the movement as it plays its slow, sad lullaby. The tinkling notes of the song echo through the room, each as hauntingly familiar as the last. It's almost cruel how it caresses the edges of my memory, taunting me to remember faces and names that are no longer there. My heart fills with hopelessness, my teeth clench tight in frustration, and it's only when I feel a tear slip over my lips that I realize I'm crying. But why am I crying? The music box hasn't triggered any memories in me, only a feeling, a sadness and longing so strong it makes my heart ache. The melody ends, and for a long time after, neither of us say a word. Eventually, Damon breaks the silence, his voice barely more than a whisper. So, do you remember anything? His voice drifts through the space between us, unusually soft, and I have to blink a few times to regain my composure. I meet his gaze and immediately have to avert my own, because written on his face as plain as day is a look I'm not sure my heart can take right now. A look of pity. I felt something. Which is true. There was something there, not a memory, but a feeling. I don't think that music box was mine, but whoever owned it, they were special to me. The words stick to my throat and I hesitate. I wish I could remember more than that, but there's nothing else. Nothing at all. Well, that's kind of sad to think like you remember that it's not yours, but you feel like it's somebody you cared about, and that person's probably dead, most likely. Damon must see my sadness because he places a warm hand over mine and gently closes the music box with a soft click. It pulses in my hand, its sad, sweet melody still echoing through me. I thought this might have helped, but... Do you really want it? What? To remember? Do you think it's worth it? There must be something worth remembering. There has to be. What if there's not? What if there's something so effed up in your past that you'd rather forget it ever existed? Wouldn't you rather not know and start over? He drops his hand from mine and I can see that he's getting agitated. I wonder if he would start over again if he had the choice. It can't all be bad. No one has a life that's all bad. That's not true. I know that I've hit a nerve by the darkness that shadows his face and the raspiness of his voice. He squares his shoulders and straightens his spine as though he's never meant to let the mask slip, but I can't forget what I've seen behind it. I hope you don't regret what you find there in your memories. For better or for worse, it's your choice. He takes in a deep breath before he turns to leave, shoulders heavy with exhaustion, and then he winks at me, that infuriating half-cocked grin making my stomach flip. I better get going. I'd love to spend the night, but I'm exhausted, and I don't think we'd get much sleep if you know what I mean. Damn. He came on strong. I love how he's like, hey, you seem a little sad. You want me to spend the night? Oh my god, dude. Grabbing the pillow from my bed, I hurl it in his direction, grumbling unhappily when he steps out of its way and hits the wall with a sad thud. Good night, Your Highness. I wonder if that's foreshadowing. Damon chuckles from the open doorway, giving my room a last once-over and turning up his nose at it distastefully. And you might want to think about investing in some new curtains, maybe a colorful rug. Hell, even one of Rona's creepy plants would liven this place up a bit. Oh, and let me deal with the captain. So you know what's happening, that he wants to dump me off. He leaves me glaring after him, and with a heavy sigh, I drop down on my bed and hold the music box above me. The metal glints in the fluorescent light, and I vaguely recall hearing of kind of laughing like before. It was found on the planet before it was destroyed, mined from deep below the watery surface in the ocean caves. It would explain its purulescent shine. It's really a beautiful object. Why do you feel so familiar? I see the faint encryption of, like, I think it's NLP. I speak out loud with no one around to hear me, and then I squint at something catches my eye with the intricate detailing. Ha! There's an engraving on it. NLP. What does it mean? Feeling the gentle lull of sleep begin to weigh on me, I decide the question can wait. Opening the music box once more, I set it beside me on the bed, watching the dance of the lights and the gears as the tinkling memory soothes me. This is a pretty melody. My eyes grow heavy, so heavy I'm pulled under by the weight of my exhaustion. Wavering on the brink of dreams and reality, I hear it. A sweet, strong voice. Familiar. So familiar. Be strong, Des. Be safe. You're a fighter, a survivor. The day where I have to leave you will come, sooner than we both know. Promise me you won't give up. Who are you? Why can't I remember you? Why does it feel like I miss you when I don't remember? I'm sorry, little one. I miss you too. Do you respond to me? End of episode 1. Oh, that broke my heart. Alright, so probably saw me messing around there. So we just got to episode 2. This was episode 1, error 404. That was very interesting. And I just noticed from this screen, I haven't met this character. This is June, Bash, Cal, Damon, Aya, and Rona. I haven't met this person. So far, I like the story. I like that there's all this mystery and stuff. I'm enjoying this so far. I think I'm going to continue with this one. What are my options? You guys are going to explore this with me. Load. Okay, so when I get into that, it hopefully will automatically put me into episode 2. So that's all we can hope for. Oh, that was interesting. I did like it. I like the story that all of these people hold. I like the back and forth, details, information. Yeah, I feel like I said before in the beginning, the game can be played without any romantic interest and without really engaging in that way. I feel like I'm gonna incidentally or accidentally engage in romance, probably with Damon, because it seems like I kind of like the banter back and forth, and it seems like he generally does actually care about me. And the last comment he made of saying, basically like, I'm gonna go talk to the captain. So the captain has made it very clear that I'm probably gonna get dropped off at the next stop. Or I had told Damon, or Damon heard about it. But Damon's also the guy that says, I know things. I can find things out. I like Bash. He reminds me of, a big brother. June seems pretty nice. I like Rana and I like Aya. They're both really cool characters. Cal just seems like a douchebag. But I understand where he's coming from. That, there is just a stowaway from a planet that some bad stuff just happened, and am I a rebel? Who am I? Me not knowing could be a trap, and it could endanger the entire crew. So I understand the loyalty he has to them to keep them safe, but he's still a douche. Anyway, guys, I hope you like this game. Like I said, there's 7 episodes, I think, that are released. I think in total there will be 10. If you guys want to see more, let me know. I may just post it because I'm enjoying the story and I want to see where this goes. But leave a comment down below what you guys think. Give it a thumbs up if you like the video. It'll help guide me to know what to do next. I may, if I have time, I may go through the episodes and I want to try to release maybe all of them next week if I can find the time, just so we can keep up with the story. But let me know what you guys think. If you are a returning sub to my channel, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. You are amazing, and your support truly means everything to me. And if you are new to my channel and you've made it this far, this is about an hour in, I think, you are a rock star. Thank you so much. And I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. 1, it helps me grow, and I would just love to see you again. Duh. I hope you'll stop by for the other episodes. But until next time, guys, please take care of yourselves. Know I love you, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.